In February, I set myself a pretty ambitious tibia of 10 books. These were the 10 books. Surprisingly, I actually got through every single one, and now I'm going to tell you about them. Tell you the genre, page number, plot summary, type of characters, what I liked, what I didn't like, song vibes, how long it was supposed to be rated.
Darling, guess who's back from jail?
Before I begin, I just wanted to apologize for my appearance. I think I've been cursed. And listen, a few days ago, guess what? A guy told me that I was pretty. And now I look like this. He jinxed me. But you know what? No one cares about my appearance. Okay, so Divine Rivals. Let's talk about it. This book is a fantasy book. It's YA. Some people said it's historical fantasy. There's 353 pages. And to just show you what the font looks like, it looks like that. So yeah, it's very, very small. I like that it has a contents page because I feel like not many books have that right now. I did listen to most of this book. The lady who did the audiobook has such a nice voice, and I think it was because of her that I pictured her as Hermione. I also pictured him as Victor from The Corpse Bride. They even have like similar situations without me saying too much. Okay, so let me tell you about the plot of this book. Basically, we have Iris and we have Roman. They are journalists working in this journaling agency. And there is this spot to be the like top journalist or something. Honestly, I can't really remember. As they're like fighting for it, they are not enemies. Want to make that very clear on the back. It's like, no, enemies of us? Absolutely not. Academic rivals, I suppose. Literally on the second page, she's like, oh, do you want to like go out with me for sandwiches? If you're enemies or like true rivals, that wouldn't happen. But I would just say that they both want the same spot and they're each other's competition. Imagine you're running a race. Okay, the person next to you, it's like, yeah, I'm not going to kill you. I don't hate you, but like, I want to win. That's kind of like the vibe here. At the same time, there's a war going on, a war of the gods, because there's Dacre and Ember. Dacre, you know what? You know that's reminding me of Stranger Things, because there's a guy in Stranger Things, his name was Billy. He was like really angry. He was like punch balls and like he was very mean to his younger sister Max. But it was so weird because like, why was the mum with him? Like, wasn't he in high school? Oh my, why was the mum with a high school student? Yeah, that was so weird. Wait, and is there a fourth one? Yeah, the fourth one was like when Max had that like running up the hill song. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the gods, Dacre and Ember. So Dacre and Ember, they were asleep. Like they were gods and they were asleep. Also, I don't know how big these gods are. Like in my mind, I keep imagining like big, gigantic, you know, but then they never really are described really. So I'm like, are they like people? Do they look like people? Like how big are they? I don't know, because I don't know, but they were basically reworking. And now they're fighting. The gods are fighting. And anyways, there's this war going on. Iris's brother is in the war, and basically in the town where they live, the war isn't really getting talked about. It's kind of like a hush-hush situation. The journalist agencies like, we're not going to talk about the war. We're going to, you know, let you write about the soldiers' obituary, what a funny word, but we're not going to actually let you report on like the war. Eventually we like meet more characters. It gets kind of more interesting, but I'm not going to tell you why because I feel like it's a bit of a spoiler and it's not really on the back. The main point is that they're both writers, right? So Iris has this like typewriter thing, but it's a magic typewriter, because when she types on it and she was putting like the letters in her wardrobe just because it's like, oh, like maybe I can just pretend that I'm sending it to my brother, because remember her brother's off in the war. Guess what? Someone starts writing letters back. Who is it? It's Victor, not Victor, Roman. It's Roman. He's sending the letters back. She doesn't know who it is. He knows who she is. It's kind of like this entire mess. So let's talk about the type of characters. Honestly, what do I remember about these characters? They're journalists. She's very good. She works because her mum is an alcoholic. Iris is like a good kid. Roman? He is kind of the opposite because he is going against his family's wishes. What I liked about this book was I liked the scenery. I even liked the plot. What I didn't like was that there wasn't much talk about the gods. We got kind of little bits of information, but not a lot. Like kind of the only information we got was when he would like write her a letter about like, the gods. Song that I would associate with this book. So I have my Spotify here. I have up my liked songs. I'm just gonna press shuffle, and whatever song comes up. All right, listen. Whatever song, this is Iris and Roman's song. Okay. Sorry, ad. I don't have Spotify Premium. Okay. Wait. No. Terrible song. Let's try this again. Shuffle. Sweet creature. There are very magical creatures and like beings in this world. That was actually quite cool. I did like that about the book. And a whole bunch of different rules and stuff. Thank you, Harry, for reminding me. It took me like 5 days to read this book. I said in my review, I really enjoyed this book. I like the characters, the world, all the plot details, even the ending. Even though it was painful, the ending actually hurts. My heart is hurting. Honestly, yeah, it was kind of painful, but I think the reason why I was feeling pain was actually not because of the ending. That's because of something else, but we're not going to talk about that. So that is it for Divine Rivals. Like I said, I'm easily entertained, and I like it. I read books to distract myself, also because I have terrible sleeping problems, so I just read when I should be sleeping. So basically anything that's going to distract my mind, yeah, it's a win. Also would recommend the audiobook. This is in no particular order, by the way. I'm going to talk about Anna Karenina. I just recently finished the movie. The genre of this book is, I would say it's like a drama. Online it's saying that it's literary fiction and crime fiction. The novel deals with themes of betrayal, faith, family, marriage, Imperial Russian society, desire, and the difference between rural and urban life. This book is long. This book had 817 pages. A plot summary of this book. There's a lot of plot lines. So it starts off with this dude named Oblonsky, and he has cheated on his wife, Dolly. Now, Oblonsky is Anna's brother. There's a cheating gene in that family because guess what? She cheats on her husband, Alexei, with Vronsky. They also have a kid called Rosa. Anna gets with Vronsky and they have a kid. They have a daughter. And then, like, she becomes estranged from, like, her son. And then there's Levin. Now, Levin is supposed to be a self-portrait of Tolstoy. Basically, this dude, he has such horrendous self-esteem the entire time. He's ripping on himself and he doesn't think he's good enough for anything. And, like, to the point, there's also this woman named Kitty, right? And Kitty likes Vronsky, but then Vronsky's like, no, I don't like you. Initially, Kitty friend-zoned Levin. Because I remember that. I was like, see? Friend-zoning has always been a thing. Then she liked Vronsky, but Vronsky did not like her. There's actually a very good quote about that in it. See, there's so many good quotes. Okay, then she was like, okay, Vronsky doesn't want me. Back to Levin. So she and Levin get together. She and Levin are terrible for each other. They're terrible. I don't like them together at all. I feel like, honestly, Levin was kind of getting my nerves. Maybe it's because I saw kind of part of myself in him with his, like, horrendous self-esteem. Levin's also like a farmer. Very beautiful scenes about the seasons. There was such a beautiful description of spring. This book was very entertaining. There's also long talks about politics and religion and stuff, so keep that in mind. I may have just thrown a lot of names at you, and I'm sorry. I think I started reading this book on my birthday, and I finished reading on the 29th of February. Now, the type of characters in this book, they are flawed and they're very complex, and you're not really meant to like them, I don't think. Well, I didn't like any of them. Like, they're not really that good. The characters, they're very flawed, okay? They make a lot of mistakes. They're not like people that you're like, oh, I want to be like them. No, I like the storyline. I thought it was interesting. I do sometimes talk a lot. You know, sometimes there's a little bit in this book. But do we care? No. Look at all the tabs I made. And that does not even include all the annotations. The back teeth were beginning to go bad. Stream cavity by Vinny. Okay, that is so random. Death, the inevitable end of everything, presented itself to him for the first time with irresistible force. He's not worth your suffering over him. And she's like, what? What is it you want to make me feel? That I was in love with a man who cared nothing for me and that I'm dying of love for him? There's also a lot of discussion about cheating. Characters are so dramatic. All of them are dramatic. There's also an entire plot line of Levin's brother who was, like, very sick and dying. This is, like, kind of a spoiler, but, like, not really, like, he's sick and dying, like, you know that. But, like, when he's dying, he's laying on the bed and the priest is like, yeah, he's gone. And he's like, no, not quite. And the entire time he's like, I'm gonna die, and then he's like, fine. But then he's not fine, obviously. But, you know, at some point he was like, dramatic. But I think the song is gonna be that, like, Young and Beautiful song by Lana Del Rey. The reason why Oblonsky cheated on Dolly was because he was like, well, she's old and she doesn't look like she used to look like. Moving on to the next book, we're going to talk about Burnt Glass. This book is a fantasy book. Part of it's YA and then part of it is, like, not. There is about 404 pages in this book. The font looks like this. A little bit of a plot summary. This is basically the first book in a Throne of Glass series. I read Assassin's Blade first. 100% so glad I did, because there are so many references to things that happen in Assassin's Blade that you would have no idea. Seeing some people online say, yeah, but that's the point. Like, you're not supposed to know what's going on in her mind. You're not supposed to know her past or her backstory. But, like, me personally, I'm glad I did. Basically, she's been imprisoned. And it's like, okay, well, you can fight for your freedom. You have to, like, verse other people, do these challenges, and it's gonna be, like, a final fight, and then whoever wins gets to be, like, the king's champion, the king's assassin. Some people are like, it's so Hunger Games. I feel like also a couple of fire, because when they do the challenge and they come back, then it's not like the Hunger Games, because in the Hunger Games, they're trapped there. They don't get, like, pulled out, like, every single day and get to rest and stuff before going back in, and they don't have preparation time for each of the challenges, like in this book. The type of characters in this book is Selena is a little bit, like, not like other girls. She's an assassin, but she's also very pretty. What I liked, the storyline was, like, kind of interesting. I just wish there was, like, a little bit more. I just feel like it was just kind of surface level. But also the author wrote this when she was 16. The song vibes for this, I would say, no, I don't think Pitbull is really the vibe for this. The song has to come to me in the moment. The No Show, this is a book that I finished later on. The genre of this book is romance, but I also say there's a little bit of, like, a mystery. This edition has 389 pages. The font is quite big. This book is about these 3 different women. We have Siobhan, we have Jane, and we have Miranda, and it's about their experiences with the same guy, this dude named Joseph Carter. He basically stands them up on like Valentine's Day, and as you are reading this book, you are learning more about the women, learning more about him, kind of like what's going on here. I will admit, very, very predictable, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. The first 100 pages were kind of hard for me to get through, and then after that point I was like, okay, yeah, I'm kind of enjoying now, but I just feel like the characters were just like there. I didn't really get that invested in any of them. This book was fine. It was not the best thing I ever read. I don't know what else to say. The type of characters, they're all different. What I liked about it, I liked the fact that it was more than just a romance. It deals with like loss. What I didn't like about this book, don't read the epilogue if you don't want to hear about COVID because they're on a Zoom meeting. I personally do not like books that have COVID mentioned to it. Also, there were some very cringy things in this book. But like, what do you expect? Okay, what song vibe would I give for this? I just realized that I stopped saying how long it took me to read the books. Honestly, I'm gonna stop doing that because no one cares. And the fact of the matter is, I read all these books at the same time, so it's different from like if I was just to read the book at once. You know what I'm saying? I don't really know what else to say. One last time, please. What is the song for the No Show by Beth O'Leary? No Show by Beth O'Leary. I want to talk about the Inheritance Games. This is the first book in a series. This genre, I would say, is mystery. There's like little teensy hints of romance. It's an original trilogy, and then there's like, that's like a spin-off thing. There are 372 pages, and the writing is like this. This is also YA. The plot summary is essentially this girl named Avery has inherited billions and billions of dollars of this old man. And as you are going through the book, it's a little bit like, well, why did she get this money from this old man? And this old man has kind of left them a whole bunch of like riddles to solve. It's a very big family, and they do not like her because it's like, who is this random girl and why is she getting all the money? They're still getting a lot of money, but like nowhere near as much as like this girl. Now, was there a few little twists? Yes. I would have loved this book so much more if I was younger. The type of characters in this book, there's the brothers. There's like the nice one who's like really funny. The brothers are interesting though because they all have different dads. There's like the older brother. There's like the brother who's like very cold and like standoffish, and then the one that's like has like addiction problems. What I liked about this book was I liked the plot, I liked the vibe. Like I said, I'm easily entertained. Will I be continuing this? Yes, I will. The song vibes for this. You know what I just realized then? I could just like look up playlists and then see what other people think of the songs. Bear with me while I look up Inheritance Game songs, and then, ow! The Last Great American Dynasty, Royals. Wait, Royals is a good one, because it's like, I'm not proud of my dress. Daddy issues. I'm gonna go with daddy issues. The next book I wanted to talk about, I have read a lot of YA books. Okay, this book. The genre of this book is romance. This book is YA, but it kind of talks a lot about like sex. I don't know if Ali Hazelwood is for me. 347 pages. That is size of the writing. The plot summary, basically this girl called Mallory, she stopped playing chess for this like mysterious reason. We know it's got something to do with her dad, and she plays against the world champion and she beats him and he doesn't even know. She's got to be like, checkmate, and he's like, huh? How is he world champion then? But also the author says in the acknowledgements that she took like some creative, what'd she say? Full disclosure when it comes to chess, I took lots and lots of poetic licenses to move the story along. Plot before realism? Question mark. If you notice him, I'm so sorry. That explains that. This book is supposed to be for like Gen Z. It's supposed to be very pop culture. There's so many things, but also because this lady's a millennial, some of the stuff she's saying is like, oh, cringy. It's cringy. This book is very, very cringy. I went this book knowing it was pop culture. I wasn't expecting that much. Like the amount of stuff that was mentioned. Type of characters. Mallory is, I believe her mom has arthritis, and so her mom can't work. She is the breadwinner of the family, and her sisters are so ungrateful. Nolan was just like, it was just like kind of there. It wasn't really that notable. I don't know. This book was just like a very, very pretty cover. If you look up close to the characters, they look a little bit funny. Like, what I liked about this book, yeah, the cover. What I didn't like, everything I just mentioned. I know that this lady, she writes like sciencey books. In this book, there's a lot of things like, my atoms are like shaking, my neurons are whatever. The entire thing, she's like, it's my fault that my family's falling apart. Like, it's the dad's fault. What are you talking about? I was expecting her to like have murdered him or something. Part of me was like, wait, did she murder him? Is that why she keeps being like so secret about it? Like she murdered him at a chess meet? Next up, the 70s slip. There were some nice things I did. Tab them at the start. It was kind of boring. Getting off track here. The genre of this is romance, I believe. 328 pages. The font. Essentially, this girl is a publisher and her aunt dies. and she inherits the apartment. But sometimes the apartment takes her 7 years into the past, and 7 years into the past, her aunt was letting this dude stay in it for the summer. So every so often when she goes in the apartment, it's like set 7 years in the past, and it's like she's experiencing things. And it's kind of weird because like she's experiencing things with him, and then in the future, like he's already experienced them, but she hasn't. She likes art. Type of characters in this book, millennials. What I liked about this book was I liked the fact that there was that kind of like the apartment. I liked the fact that I liked the aunt. I wish we got to know more of the aunt. I wish there was like more flashback scenes of like her and the aunt. I did cry, by the way. There were some parts that were a little bit boring. At the start, I was a little bit bored, but then I pushed through and I'm glad I did because I did end up really enjoying it. I didn't really feel like that much of the chemistry. Let's talk about Pet Sematary by Stephen King. Is it horror or thriller? 465. That's what like the inside. This nice little family moves to Maine. Every book in Stephen King's universe, I swear I said, is set in New England or Maine. Is New England in Maine? I'm not American. I don't know. There's a cat called Church. It's supposed to be Church. I feel like everyone knows what the plot is of this. It talks a lot about death. If you had a chance to see a loved one again after they died, knowing they'd be a little bit different, would you still do it? Types of characters in this book, did not really like Lewis. Who do I know who's called Lewis? Louis from One Direction. From Ice Age, Lewis, the little like scared little rodent. What I liked about this book was I liked the vibe. What I didn't like about this book, some of the lines, like, I don't know, there were some lines I was just like, why would you say that? Like, for example, I don't know what exactly to do with meaning, but there's this old dude in this book, and like his wife, right? She's talking to Lewis and he's like, you should have seen her when she was 16. What are you talking about? Song vibes for this. Something creepy. The movies are different. Now we're going to talk about the last two books. I'm going to talk about them together because I read them together. So the genre of this book, I would say it's like fantasy. No, it's not. I'd say this book is like romance, and then there's drama. Page numbers, a lot. We have Magnolia and BJ in this book. Daisy, Christian, and Julian. Love my life. I need the new Daisy hates books. Julian is just... Yes, I do know what he does. Very heart-wrenching. I read these at the same time. There are some scenes, and it's the same scene, but the characters are saying different things. And I don't know if it's just because the perspectives, it's like that's what they saw in their perspective, or it's just like a mistake of the editing. Speaking of which, the editing has so many mistakes. I can't find anything back here for the editors, probably because there wasn't. Published books should not be having that many mistakes. The thing about these books is that you get very attached to characters. The type of characters they are, they're very flawed. They will do things that make you annoyed, and they will say things that make you annoyed. They'll say things that's like, why would you say that? Especially Magnolia. She says the wildest things. I liked Julian, and I liked Daisy. Now the songs, Right Where You Left Me. I read these books as part of like a reading vlog, and I have my much more in-depth thoughts in that. I like these books. Anyways, this is the 10 books that I read. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought about these books, because I'd love to have discussions, because I feel like not many people in my life, actually I don't think anyone in my life has read any of these books, so I can't really talk to them about them. And you can tell me what you liked, what you didn't like, if you agree with me, disagree with me. Okay, bye. I think I'm actually in pain. Divine Rivals, get back in your stack, you little rat. Ow! Okay, bye.